Hey everybody, welcome back to fanbrew.com. I'm your host, Adam Minarsik, and as always, this is the Brew Review. Today we've got another special fun episode for you where we will be drinking round 2 of my Mr. Beer West Coast style pale ale that I brewed with the home brewing kit, America's most popular home brewing kit, Mr. Beer. I don't know if you saw our first video or not, but if you didn't, the link is in the underbar or in the post below, where you will find a link to that. You can see what the beer tasted like when with the first bottle. Basically, what I've done is I followed the instructions to a T and brewed exactly by the way that Mr. Brew tells you, or Mr. Beer tells you to do it. And then I let it sit in the keg for 2 weeks to ferment. And then I bottled it for 2 weeks, which is the minimum that you're supposed to allow it to sit for maximum flavor. Then I let it sit in the fridge for 2 days before I opened it up. And as you'll see from the original video, that the results were kind of lackluster. The beer didn't have very much flavor. It was overly sweet and undercarbonated. So we're hoping that after 3 weeks in bottle, that it's gotten a little bit better. And we're going to continue to do this every week, letting it age a little bit longer until all the bottles are gone, which will probably be about 7 or 8 weeks after it's actually been bottled. So hopefully by the end it'll be a really good beer that we will enjoy, and I won't have to say, don't buy Mr. Beer. But what do you say we get into it? We got the plain brown plastic 22 ounce, actually this might even be bigger than 22 ounce bottle, half liter possibly. And it's got some carbonation sound coming out of it, which is a good sign, but not nearly as much as I would have liked to have heard. As I pour it, it's got a lot more carbonation than it did after 2 weeks. Like I said, if you refer back to the first video, there was very little carbonation, and I was maybe able to get a half a finger head, foam head on the top of it. But now we've really got some action going on in here. We've got great carbonation, great golden color, and it's actually cleared up quite a bit, which is pretty impressive. And the bubbles are just going like crazy. A little shout out there, I don't know if you can see the label on the glass, to Brickworks Brewery in Hobart. Love those guys over there. Tom and Brandon do an excellent job with that brewery. I don't know if you've been out there, but if you haven't, be sure to check that out. Let's give it a sniff and see what it tastes like. Well, it's starting to come along. It's really starting to open up a lot more. You still have a lot of the sweetness in there, in the nose, that I would like to see go away, but I'm finally starting to get some of a little bit of a hop bitterness coming through. So, on a good note, over week 2 in bottles, week 3 has more aroma. It really seems to be opening up and developing into more of a real nose. So let's give it a taste and see what it tastes like. That is a whole lot better than it was last week. Wow, you know what, it's almost to the point where instead of dumping this bottle down the drain like I did with the first bottle, I might be able to finish some of this. It's still very dull flavored, very sweet, but the carbonation has gotten a lot better, and it lingers a little bit in your mouth with a tiny bit of bitterness. Oh no, it's not actually half bad. I'm excited to see where it goes and see how it continues to grow. For right now, I still wouldn't give it any kind of rating. And the question Robbie asked me before is if I do get another Mr. Beer kit, get another malt from them, what would I do differently about my brewing process? And the one thing that I would change right off the bat is, rather than using tap water, I would go out and buy some sort of distilled or bottled water. That way I know that there's no local contaminants or local flavoring or chlorines or anything like that in the water that are going to change the flavor of the beer. Because when it comes down to it, you got to remember that 95% of everything that's in beer is water, and your water is going to have a huge effect on how it comes out and the flavor of it. So that's definitely the one thing that I would change. And the thing that I'm going to continue to do is just let it age, because it seems that, you know, from week 2 to week 3 it has gotten dramatically better, and I can't wait to see what week 4 is like. But until next time, this has been the Brew Review, and I hope you enjoyed it.